The Beast Within the Bed. Josh has a new unwanted visitor. Shiver and Fears, Volume 17. Written by A.J. Hard. Narrated by Douglas W. Taylor. Chapter 1. The beast was coming to get me. I locked myself in my room, but nothing could stop it from getting me. I placed my back against the door, but each pounding from its giant claws sent me flying. I knew I was dead. "Leave me alone," I cried. That wasn't going to stop the horrible creature. My heart was pounding as the monster let out an earth-quaking roar. There was only one place safe for me, under the bed. I crawled my way underneath and pulled the covers in front of me, hoping if the creature got in, she wouldn't see me. I let out a quiet groan. Josh Henkel always has to open his mouth and cause a whole bunch of trouble. When was I ever going to learn? Finally, the banging stopped. Was it over? I slowly seeped out from under the bed and tiptoed toward the door, but I didn't dare open it because I knew she was on the other side, waiting to pounce and rip me limb from limb. I slowly pressed my back against the door again and held my breath. After a few seconds, I let out a sigh of relief. "Ah!" I cried as a claw reached out through the door and grabbed me. Chapter 2. "Josh, you are so dead!" Georgia exclaimed. There was no escape. I was able to release from her grip, but I knew there was nowhere to hide. Georgia's hand was reaching around to get a hold of the doorknob. "What's going on here?" My sister's hand slipped back out the door. "Josh, open this door." I heard Mom on the other side. It was even worse than being strangled by my older sister. I had no choice but to open my door. Mom greeted me with an angry scowl. "What is going on here?" Dad stood behind Georgia, completely impressed with her strength. "Wow, Georgia, you destroyed that door." Georgia was a total tomboy. At our school, Walker Water Middle School, she was the only girl involved in 3 school sports. She was completely popular and feared around the school, but I was her main target. "Georgia, leave your brother alone." I gave her a smirk. "As for you, Josh, stop teasing your sister." Georgia smiled back. "But, Mom, She cut me off. "Let's go send that anger to the gym," Dad suggested. Once again, Georgia got the free card, and I was the one in trouble. "Josh, do you know how much it'll cost to have this door fixed?" Before I could even think of an answer, Mom asked another question. "And why is it you have to bother your sister?" I faced down while writing my name on the floor with my foot. "I didn't mean to," I mumbled. Mom just sighed. "But, Mom, Georgia was this close from killing me." I held my thumb and forefinger close together to where they almost touched. "Just because I asked if she'd seen my backpack." Mom was a tall woman and pretty slim, so she always had to look down on me. Literally. Even though both our personalities come from Dad, my brown hair comes from my mom and George's black hair comes from Dad. Well, you might could find it if you cleaned your room. My clothes were all over the floor. My skateboard and equipment were scattered around. School books were flipped over and opened. And my other stuff were hiding more stuff. "It is clean." Mom rolled her eyes. "Clean your room," she demanded, and walked off. I huffed as I started picking up my math book. "Hey, Josh," Georgia replied. Just as I looked up, a football came hurling to my face. Chapter 3. Julius and I were walking to school. More like Julius was walking to school. I was more limping to school. George really clobbered you, huh? Julius smiled. Usually when he smiles, it gets me laughing. Julius has buck teeth. When he smiles, 2 of his front teeth stick out, so the whole school calls him Beaver. But it's not the only reason. Beaver has short, brown, buzz-cut hair that feels like fur, and he gnaws when he eats, usually on his pencil. When are you ever going to learn to keep your mouth shut? Beaver asked. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just asking if she's seen my backpack, but she won't tell me, so I kept asking. Do you know? Do you know? The next thing I know, she's ready to kill me. Beaver raised his eyebrow. So, where is your backpack? He asked. I gave him my usual dunce glance. Well, I still couldn't find it because while I was cleaning, my sister pounded me, I said. Gosh, man, it was just a question. That was my problem. Can't keep my mouth shut and always had to use smart talk. I was about to tell Beaver sorry when Kai pushed me out of the way as he zoomed past us on roller skates. Hey, Kylie, watch it! Beaver's expression was full of fear. He hid his face behind his hands. My eyes opened wide as I realized what escaped my lips. What did you call me? Kai growled. I took a deep breath. You know, you shouldn't take that as an insult. I mean, it is your name. Kai approached me, rolling up his sleeves. My name is Kylie, not Kylie. He talked through his teeth. I started backing up. That's what I said. Kylie, not Kylie. That came out wrong. Kai started growling. Beaver didn't stick around. He tried to charge past Kai, but Kai's reflexes grabbed him by the collar of the shirt. Beaver was scrambling to get released, but it was no use. Kai was going to beat the both of us. Josh, you always have to open your mouth, he said. But I still had one last trick up my sleeves. With Beaver still at his grip, Kai took a swing at me, but I jumped back. I ran around him. Beaver, leave the shirt! He slipped out of his orange soccer shirt, and we both ran toward school. Kai chased after us. You two can't get away from me, he hollered. We both started laughing, but the fun was over when I tripped. Oh! Beaver stopped. Go on without me. Beaver did just that. He only looked back once. I tried to quickly get up, but it was too late. Kai grabbed me by my shoulder, raised his fist high over his head, and came right at me. Chapter 4. My back was killing me as I plopped onto my bed. Oh, I moaned. So where is your backpack? Beaver asked as he walked into my bedroom. Dude, not only did I get beaten by my sister and Kylie, but I also got in trouble in class like 100 times and missed lunch. And here you are asking me about my backpack. I snapped. It didn't seem to affect Beaver in any way. So, are you sure you've looked everywhere, even under the bed? Beaver bent over to look under the bed. Weirdly, that's the only place that's clean in this room, I said, still lying flat on the bed. Well, thanks for letting me sleep over. It was nearly night, and I was tired. Usually, when Beaver sleeps over, we play video games all night, but things were different this time. Go ahead and play some video games. I'm heading to bed early. While Beaver turned on the TV, I covered my sore body with a blanket. I heard the video game music playing behind me. It was kind of soothing. I imagined what Beaver was playing and what stage he was playing on. I easily fell asleep afterwards and started dreaming I was in a video game myself. I was being chased by a female gorilla. Her arms were pumped. I kept running through doors, but she kept bursting her fists through them all. As I was running, I approached another creature on skates, swinging an orange shirt around. I stopped, but both the gorilla and the creature came at me and both swung their fists at me. I woke up and gazed around. My eyes were adjusting to the dark. The TV was on, but Beaver wasn't playing on it. Instead, he was hiding in the corner. "Beaver, what's the problem?" I whispered. I groaned as my shoulder was still in pain. Beaver didn't reply. All he did was point at me. No, not at me. At my bed. He started mumbling something, but I couldn't really hear him. I slipped out of bed and walked towards him. "Beaver, what's the problem?" He was so scared I started to hear his buck teeth chatter. "Josh, watch out!" he whimpered. "What's the problem?" I was confused. Beaver seemed so scared. Once again he pointed at my bed. Was it Georgia trying to sneak up on me? I took a peek under the bed. "No!" he cried. "Stay away from the beast within the bed." I turned around and gazed at him. "What?" Just as I questioned him, we both heard a noise from behind me. I slowly turned around and watched in horror, without a word, as a big, green, hairy hand came crawling out from under my bed. Chapter 5. I wanted to scream, but my voice was caught in my throat. As the hand crept out, Beaver and I heard a growl. Beaver was frozen in fright. It was too dark to see the expression on his face. The claw then reversed its way back under the bed. "What in the world was that?" I exclaimed. "There's a monster under your bed." Even though I saw it myself, it was still hard for me to believe. No, that was not a monster. Monsters are not real. Beaver wasn't going to agree. "Then what do you call that?" He pointed at the bed as he exploded in fear. "We're too old to believe monsters are under our bed." But Beaver was right. I mean, we saw it with our own eyes. The two of us stood as far from the bed as possible in the corner. "Well, what do we do?" The room was completely quiet. Beaver and I didn't say anything, but we were thinking the same thing. There was no way we were sleeping around the bed. "We've got to get out of here," I suggested. Beaver didn't hesitate. We both headed out the door and through the hallway to the den. We both sat on the couch, our feet avoiding the floor. "Don't worry. If that really was a monster, there's no way one would be under the couch." Beaver wasn't convinced. "Then why are we crouched on the couch?" I took a deep breath. "Just shut up and go to sleep." It took a while for me to close my eyes. I kept imagining the claw from the monster. Sooner or later I had to go back to my bed. Who's to say the monster wasn't under us now? After a while, I fell asleep, not really sure I would see the next day. I woke up to the smell of pancakes. Beaver was gone. Was he eaten by the monster? I heard his voice in the kitchen. I jumped off the couch and rushed in. He was sitting there at the table eating a stack of pancakes. "Hey, Josh, come join us before your mom runs out of batter." Without a question, I sat next to Beaver as Mom handed me a plate of pancakes. Georgia was already at the table, chomping on her pancakes, shredding each one with her teeth. "Keep up the pancakes, Mom," she replied with a mouthful of pancakes. "What are you looking at?" she snapped. I ignored her. I started eating my pancakes. Beaver swallowed his last bite and whispered to me. "You won't believe this," he whispered. It gained my attention. "I told your sister about the monster." My jaw dropped. "Josh, close your mouth," Mom said. Didn't seem to be a rule for Georgia, as she chewed with her mouth open. I swallowed my food and went back to the conversation. "You told her? What did she say?" Beaver smiled. His reply surprised me. Did I hear him right? Beaver had told me Georgia knew about the monster.